Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today, I just want to make a couple of comments on the communication mechanisms between domain and myself and others. Just some thoughts, some things to ponder. We know, I just want to establish some basics. Okay. For the basics, we know and we understand that I was part of a program and that they installed these various things in me. And I went ahead doing stuff that I had no idea, no purpose for, and I pieced things together. And then one day, out of the blue, in trying to establish things, a channel opened up directly to me, and I've been talking with the domain. Now, that's pretty whacked out. Certainly there's been a guiding hand throughout this entire process. I just was unaware of it. Maybe guiding hands. But this is the first time there's actual talk. And this connection can be opened up at will. I can access it pretty much all the time if I want to. It takes a toll out of me. It's a lot of work. And that's just me. And I don't want to parse too much of what all's going on regarding it, because does it really matter? Everything builds up to this moment in time, I guess. So there's this communication, all right, and I'm using it. Now, this type of communication is only possible with a specific alteration to your body known, which I call as an EBP, which is what I refer to it as. And it's a process. It's not a singular mechanism. It's a process. And that's the kind of direct communication that I got. Now, Commander has told me that they communicate with others on the earth using other methods, and with that understanding tells me that I shouldn't be so critical of these other methods. There are people who scry, there's people who hear voices, there's people who do automatic writing. I can't complain or belittle those other techniques, because everything has a purpose. Now, that being said, you have to understand that there are disinformation experts, jackasses, assholes, and profiteers out there that also try to jump on the bandwagon and take advantage of this. In their minds, they're taking advantage of fools that they can fleece. Indeed, Metallic Man on the website was, I was given a Bitcoin ransom. They said they were going to take over the website unless I paid them Bitcoin. I didn't do it, and they tried to take it over. Sure as shit. But I'm in China, and they can't use a Chinese domain, so they couldn't take it over. They couldn't access my passwords. A lot of the default passwords for admin and everything at the various levels of WordPress and everything, I just changed them all. So they couldn't get through any of the not well published backdoors to the system. But anyways, these kinds of people exist, and they try to take advantage. But let's talk a little bit about some of these others. Okay. One of the things that you have to keep in mind is that everybody communicates in different levels. There's different levels of ability. And some people sound like they're completely off the wall, but might have legitimate experiences. You have to accept that. They're just not communicating what's going on. And other people are having totally unique experiences that nobody of us can understand, but they're trying to communicate to us. And in this mix is a sense of ego and background and education and communication difficulties, all kinds of issues like that. So we have to accept these limitations, give people the benefit of the doubt. To a person who doesn't know what leprechauns are, hasn't lived in the Green Isles, just thinks of them as some kind of historical fiction or story, and then hears somebody talking about how leprechauns come on in and are mischievous inside their living room. It just sounds like whacked out bullshit. But they're trying to communicate events. Here on this earth are a lot of events that's going on, but people don't know how to communicate about them. The techniques that I use with the EBP, I talk in terms of American level communication, English level communication, some technical level communication, some life level communication. I try to communicate what I have, what I've experienced. Other people try doing it in other ways. It doesn't make my method or any method right or wrong, but what it does do is it communicates to the listener the ideas and the concepts going on. I like to think that the system between domain commander, myself, is one of superiority for my particular situation. And obviously those of you who are on Patreon and are paying to see me blabber on about this stuff, it's important to you too. Everybody is here for different reasons, and everybody understands things differently. Those of you who have volunteered for domain, you have had a physical response. You've had dreams, you've had nightmares, you've had feelings as things transpired. It's happened. Those of you who have volunteered but didn't feel that and asked me, why aren't I feeling anything? The answer was really clear, that was done early on. So you have to understand that all this stuff that we think is on a time track has actually happened and been in motion before we had our pre-birth Worldline template. So you're all exactly where you are supposed to be. And I am like this sheep herder of this little tiny flock, trying to push you all guys ready for your final egress moment. I hope I'm successful. And I'm sure the domain commander hopes you're successful as well. For those of you who want to know, the domain commander is asexual. There's no particular sex with domain. They are a being entity that shows both a masculine or a feminine face. And when they take on a doll body, you can see both elements. You can argue that it's a matriarchal organization, a female-run society by its nature with very, very harsh male tendencies. You can argue that. I think the people who are more in tuned and connected to domain can feel this female strength. But to many people, it's not really apparent. But that means nothing because they are an asexual being, right? You can call them male or female or whatever. So what I'm trying to say here is that you can't be dissuaded or deterred by other people who have not the same understandings or the ability to communicate that you do or that you may have. And you just have to accept them as they are. Even if they sound completely outrageous, give them a benefit of the doubt, hear what they have to say. If they're just gibbering on and on and on about Palladians and reptilians and how they're the queen or king of the land of hobbits, fine. In general, close association with the more louder of these contactees or individuals will be a detrimental effect on you against the normals, against the normie people, the normal people. So we have to isolate ourselves from that. Selection of those others that surround you can be problematic at times. So that's why for Metallic Man we only have PL and DM are the primary other ones that I associate with on the site. Doesn't mean there aren't any others. Doesn't mean the other ones are not valid either. It just means that selection is important for the audience, and you're the audience. So I don't want all of a sudden, on one hand, an audience that's very interested in the DIY aspects of a teleportation unit and can understand the differences between cobalt and magnesium, to be interrupted by some person talking about how they're the representative of the Rotarians and how they have had experiences on Venus. You know. Okay, so we have to communicate what we know in a way that those of us that are participating in the communication understand. You got to remember back in the days of high school, and there you used to form in these little groups, and people would be talking and talking. Each little group had its own little language. The cheerleaders would talk about this kind of stuff. Football players and the jocks would talk about this kind of stuff. The nerdy kids would talk about this kind of stuff. Everybody had their own interests and their own subjects. But when a nerd would go to the group of cheerleaders, they would kind of push them out. Okay, get out of here. You don't belong here. And it's the same way. It's sort of like a human antibody kind of situation. It doesn't mean that these other people are bad. It just is a way of keeping the communication pristine. The problem with that is you get into an echo chamber, which is only the people who want to hear what you're talking about hears it. And that's the echo chamber syndrome, which we don't really want, do we? Now, the one thing that I keep on harping on, and it's really, really important, is the role here. The role here. If I were to disappear, if I were just to be gone, if I suddenly die or whatever, you all need to keep on going. The rules haven't changed, just this guy here is gone, all right? And that is crucially important for yourself. Don't let all this be a waste. So let me wrap up and sum up on this little brief talk. Just because it sounds really strange to you doesn't mean it's not going on. It just means that the method of communication seems to be alien to you. So we have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. And now, why this is being brought up right here and now is because I've got a couple of people. DM has been very active in the lucid dreaming and New Age movement, and they're talking a lot about spirituality issues. And there's a complete group of diverse people from all over, and he's created quite an eclectic following, and he's doing very well in that. But some of these people are seemingly off the wall, and some of them are very interested in here and want to communicate. It's not that they're bad or wrong or crazy. It's that the method of communication of things that are out of the normal is difficult to understand. It does not make them wrong. It just makes them difficult to understand. You take it in, and you let them go be. And always, in every way, you remain helpful, understanding, kind, open to new ideas. See how it fits within your understanding. See if you and that other person can mutually benefit from this transfer of information, and then move forward in your life. And that's really, really important. If you do this with everything in your life's going to be much better. I really, really believe it. Take what you have, be open to other things. Don't discount them. Try to understand. You might find a lot more similarity and understanding of the world around you than you currently have right now if you just listen a little bit more, no matter how strange it may seem to be. And at that, people, be good. Smile, take care of little dogs and cats, and be a good person. And you know what? I believe in you. That's what.
迷雾偷走了颜色，想扮演格外深刻，寥寥几个人懂得。眼看着就要一个人做选择，割舍，假意的动了声色，却骂在适当晚了，无辜着眼神什么？玩命强撑着伪善的资格，名额。他情 绪渐渐失控，他借口肆意放风，非金钗穿戳破这一秒的久久窟窿。我自己笑得像一只飞蛾扑火线，情势交火伴着我，清醒时刻平息着撕裂的躯壳，悬着聚散在拉扯，散一个成全自我幻化是坎坷，嘲笑我眼神焦灼，赞颂你熟悉的罪恶性格。假意他动了声色，却码在适当玩乐，无辜这眼是什么？文明强撑着伪善的资格，名额。他情绪渐渐失控，他借口肆意放风，被金钗穿戳破这一秒的求救。不火山，情势交火伴着我，清醒时刻平息着撕裂的躯壳，悬着聚散在拉扯，散一个成全自我幻化是坎坷，嘲笑我眼神焦灼，赞颂你熟悉的罪恶性格。我自己笑得像一只飞蛾扑火山，情势交火伴着我，清醒时刻平息着撕裂的躯壳，悬着